General Hospital spoilers. Alexis discovers the DNA test. Marco's grandfather identity leaves Port Charles in shock. Port Charles is about to be rocked to its core as Alexis Davis uncovers a DNA bombshell that could alter the fabric of the town's legacy forever. Just when Alexis thought her life was finally calming down, a shocking discovery connected to a mysterious DNA test turns her world upside down. In true General Hospital fashion, secrets buried for decades will rise, tears will fall, and one name will shatter expectations. Marco's grandfather is a man nobody saw coming. It all starts innocently enough. Alexis is helping Molly navigate the emotional aftermath of Christina's recent disappearance and subsequent exoneration. The Davis girls are reuniting, but the pain lingers, and Alexis seeks refuge in distraction. While organizing old case files at the Invader, Alexis stumbles across a misplaced manila envelope marked only for 80 eyes only. Inside, a DNA test tied to a name she doesn't recognize, Marco Santiago. At first, Alexis believes it's an editorial mix-up, but something nags at her. The test, dated only a few weeks ago, confirms a familial match between Marco and someone with the initials EC. Confused, Alexis tries to ignore it, but we know Alexis Davis. Curiosity is her Achilles heel, and this file is Pandora's box. Marco Santiago is a recent arrival in Port Charles, a brooding but charismatic young man who first caught viewers' attention during an encounter with Jocelyn at Kelly's. A quiet barista with a mysterious past, Marco quickly bonded with Trina over their shared love of art and history. He's kept his personal life under wraps, until now. As Alexis digs deeper, she's stunned to find that Marco was a ward of the state, raised in a series of foster homes. The DNA test wasn't for fun. It was initiated by Marco himself, using a third-party service to try and identify any possible family ties. The twist? The DNA doesn't just link him to one powerful family in Port Charles, it links him to two. Alexis brings the file to Hamilton Finn for advice. As he double-checks the DNA results using GH's own systems, the conclusion is undeniable. Marco Santiago shares paternal lineage with Edward Quartermain. The test proves that Marco is the grandson of Edward, but not through any known child. Finn, stunned, asks Alexis, "Are you saying there was a Quartermain child we never knew about?" Alexis's blood runs cold. Could Marco be the product of a long-hidden scandal? She's compelled to speak to Tracy, but she hesitates. Instead, she turns to Ned, hoping he'll shed light on any skeletons in the family closet. But when Ned hears the name Marco, his reaction is strange, almost panicked. In a deeply emotional scene, Ned sits with Alexis at the Quartermain mansion and recalls a story his father, Larry Ashton, once told him, a whispered rumor that Edward had a child during World War II while stationed in Spain. That child was supposedly given to a wealthy Spanish family and never spoken of again. "My father always claimed Edward paid to keep it quiet," Ned admits. Alexis stares at him. That child would be Marco's father. But before they can tell Tracy, she finds out on her own, via a private investigator tailing Alexis. Tracy is furious. She storms into Alexis's office at the Invader and hurls the DNA results at her desk. "How dare you dig into Quartermain history like it's your tabloid hobby?" Alexis, always cool under fire, fires back. "The truth has a way of coming out whether you like it or not." Tracy vows to shut this down, but it's already too late. Marco knows. In one of the most heart-wrenching episodes of the year, Alexis meets Marco at the park. She gently explains what she found, showing him the DNA test. At first, he thinks it's a joke, a cruel one, but Alexis's sincerity and the tears in her eyes make it real. "I always wondered," Marco whispers, "why I never felt like I belonged anywhere. Maybe this is why." Alexis tries to comfort him, but Marco is already spiraling. He goes to the Quartermain mansion, demanding answers, but Tracy slams the door in his face. "I don't care what the science says. You are not part of this family." Olivia witnesses the confrontation and is appalled. Later, she invites Marco to the Metro Court and offers a simple, motherly kindness. Family isn't always about blood. But in your case, it is. Don't let Tracy tell you otherwise. In a stunning turn, GH treats fans to a flashback episode set in the 1940s. Through black and white film style and classic GH flair, we witness a young Edward Quartermain in love with a Spanish woman named Isabella Cruz. Their love is passionate, but cut short by war and Edward's return to the States. Unbeknownst to Edward, Isabella gave birth to a son, Esteban Cruz. And Esteban? He is Marco's father. Esteban died tragically in a car accident years ago, but not before entrusting Marco to the foster system when his health declined. Marco never knew the full truth, until now. Alexis's next move sends shockwaves. She consults Spinelli, who helps uncover that the DNA Marco matched with initially wasn't directly from Edward. It was from someone else with the initials EC. And in a massive twist, Spinelli's research proves it was Ethan Lovett.
Why?
Because Ethan had once done a full ancestry upload years ago, and as Luke Spencer's son with Holly Sutton, Ethan is Edward Quartermain's great-nephew. That's how the match was made. The truth was hiding in the layers. Spinelli finds records of Esteban Cruz being born under the alias Esteban Quartermain Cruz, adding further legitimacy to the claim. The Quartermains have another branch, one they never even knew existed. Luke Spencer returns to Port Charles in a special appearance when Ethan calls him, shaken by the news. Luke, who's spent years trying to distance himself from Quartermain drama, is reluctant to get involved. But when he sees Marco, he's struck. He's got Edward's fire, Luke says quietly to Alexis. Later, Luke meets with Tracy privately. You're so hell-bent on legacy, Tracy. But what if this boy is the legacy? Tracy struggles. She remembers Edward, the man behind the empire, the secrets, the lies, the heartbreaks, and slowly, she begins to soften. Marco's existence sends ripples through Yelq.
Shareholders panic.
Valentine eyes the chaos, seeing an opportunity to reclaim control. Brooklyn urges Ned to bring Marco into the fold to stabilize the public image. Drew, returning from his latest mission, sides with Brooklyn. But Michael is skeptical. He wants to protect the company and his family from more drama. Alexis is caught in the middle. She didn't mean to start a war. But now she's the reluctant architect of a corporate shakeup. Marco, meanwhile, isn't interested in business at first. But as he learns more about what the Quartermains built, he begins to believe that maybe, just maybe, this is where he belongs. Inspired by Marco's story, Olivia proposes a new charitable initiative through Yelq, a scholarship fund in Esteban Cruz's name, for children in the foster system with medical needs. The Quartermain board is divided, but Olivia goes public with the idea during a press conference, and the town rallies behind it. Even Laura Collins and Mayor Ashford show support. Tracy doesn't object. For once, the Quartermains choose unity over pride. After everything settles, Alexis visits Sam and Danny. She watches them playing in the park and reflects on how many family lines weave through Port Charles. So much pain, so many secrets. And yet, somehow, love keeps showing up. Later, at Charlie's pub, she shares a drink with Finn. He asks how she feels about it all. Like I accidentally changed someone's life, she says. And maybe saved it. He smiles. Isn't that what you do? They toast. The Quartermains are changed forever. Marco now stands as a bridge between old legacy and new hope. But not everyone's thrilled. Valentine begins plotting to pit Marco against Michael. Willow reaches out to Marco, sensing his pain, and Chase notices. Jocelyn sees Marco in a new light, creating tension with Dex. Sunny, intrigued by the boy with Quartermain blood, offers him protection, but for what price? And in the closing scene, as Marco stares at the family portrait in the Quartermain living room, the camera pans to an old letter tucked behind the frame, addressed to Isabella Cruz and signed by Edward Q. The legacy of Port Charles is evolving. And Marco Santiago, Quartermain by blood, outsider by fate, may be the spark that reignites it all.